If you've studied, learned, or speak several languages, especially if one of them is English, you'll know that the R is a consonant that has several different pronunciations. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different ways that an R can be pronounced. Don't worry about these names, they're for linguists. We're going to focus on the trilled R, and this video will teach you how to make this trill. I assume, since you're watching this video, that you're familiar with the English R, especially the American English R. In standard American English, and I have a nice bland Midwestern accent, you have the r sound, as in roam or row. In French, the R is more guttural. That means it originates more closer in the throat. And to some, it may sound like you're clearing your throat. R. But I'm a Latin teacher, and the Romans trilled their R's, and they even referred to it as the littera canina, the dog letter, because it sounded like a dog growling. R. So the Latin R is pronounced differently from English and French, and this trill, linguists call it the alveolar trill, has come down to many of the modern variants of Latin. So this R, as in Roma or hortus, is the same R that's used in Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, at least in its traditional form, and even other languages unrelated to Latin like Hungarian and Polish. And if you watch enough British movies about royalty and the Queen's English, you'll hear this trilled R in English as well. But for an English speaker, how do you go from the R sound of Rome to the more splendid trill of R in Roma? I mean, if you want to pronounce Latin, Spanish, or Italian, among other languages, well, it's important to practice your trill. So to start, pay attention to your mouth and where your tongue lies as you pronounce certain words. The word we are going to use to help us trill is three. So there's really two positions for your tongue in your mouth as you say three. Say it with me and pay attention to where your tongue moves. Three, three, three. You start with the TH at the front of your mouth, at your teeth, slightly open to achieve the th sound. But as you move through the word to the E sound, your tongue moves down into the back. Here's how to trill. As you move the tongue backwards with this word, let your tongue flap just a little bit, and you'll get a trill. Three, three, three. The TH will help you vibrate your tongue just a little bit, so you can be able to turn these vibrations into a trill. And note that a trill is really only a couple of vibrations of the tongue. You can prolong it out in practice by saying three, and that might get your tongue to learn the trill, but you aren't really going to be spending 3 seconds trilling an R when you're speaking. So practice it over and over and over. Three, 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 three. Practice makes perfect. And when you think you've got the trill down with three just a bit, you can practice with different vowel combinations. So try ra, 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 ra. You're not moving your mouth in any way, just blowing air from your throat and letting your tongue flap in the breeze, kind of. Ra, 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 ra. Now try re, 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 o, ro, 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 and r, 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 r. So here's the thing. It may take time, and you may not be able to do the different vowel combinations for a while. Begin with three until you think you're able to move to the vowels. Sometimes different combinations of R are more difficult to trill. For me, the tr, tr, and dr, dr, are both tough to push out of my mouth without contorting it to what I consider to be natural positions. You may struggle with a name like Enrique, where the first syllable ends in such a way that the trilled R is tough to do. So often for even native speakers of Spanish and Italian, the trilled R is the last thing mastered, sometimes even when the speaker is in their 20s. So it's tough, but again, practice. Practice when you're alone, when no one can hear you, and wonder, what the heck are you doing? But practice over and over again, and you'll be able to use it in whatever language you're learning. For me, it's Latin, and being able to trill my R's when I read is priceless, especially when I read the first line of Virgil's Aeneid. Arma verumque cano, Troiae qui primus ab oris.